They called her priceless, but no one knew the secret that made her the most expensive slave woman ever auctioned in Alabama. Until now. Alabama, 1857. A blazing summer day. The courthouse square crowded. Whispers snake through the crowd. Everyone came to witness the auction, not just any auction. She stepped onto the wooden platform, eyes like fire, skin like polished mahogany. The crowd gasps, some in awe, some in envy, some with greed burning in their eyes. Her name? No one remembered, yet every trader, every master, every buyer knew. She was different. Something in her stance, her gaze, her very aura screamed value. But her beauty was just the beginning. Men murmured, "She's worth more than 10. She could fetch fortunes." Some even whispered, "She holds a secret, a power." No one knew what they meant. The auctioneer raised his hand. "Ladies and gentlemen, the most prized possession you will ever see." The gavel hit the block. Bidding started. Fast, furious, each bid higher than the last. Money flew like wildfire. Her eyes scanned the crowd, not with fear, not with sadness, with calculation. A flicker of something hidden, something dangerous. Whispers grew louder. Why is she so expensive? Where does her value truly lie? The highest bidder's heart raced. Others cursed their pockets. No one could stop her price from climbing. And yet, behind the crowd's fascination, behind the gold and silver, a secret waited. A secret no one dared speak aloud. A secret that could ruin lives or save them. She stood tall, graceful, defiant. The sun beating down, the auctioneer sweating, the crowd holding its breath. And then the gavel came down. The highest bid won, but winning her was just the beginning, because what no one knew, what they would discover in the shadows of Alabama, would shock the world. If you want to uncover the impossible secret and follow this story to its shocking end, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You won't believe what comes next. No one knew where she came from until her past began to whisper its dangerous truths. Alabama, several years before the auction. She was a girl then, eyes too sharp for her age, hands small but skilled. She learned fast, faster than anyone wanted her to. Her mother, long gone. Father, unknown. A name, none that mattered. She survived by watching, listening, learning. She moved through the plantation like a shadow, invisible to some, unstoppable to others. Her mind was her weapon, her beauty a shield. Whispers followed her. She's clever. She knows things no one should. Watch her. She's dangerous. Teachers tried, masters tried, but she saw everything, heard everything, remembered everything. The other slaves, they feared her, respected her. Some even prayed to her, not for miracles, for survival, for advice, for secrets she guarded like treasure. And there were rumors about the men who wanted her, the masters who desired her, the buyers who dreamt of owning her. They didn't know she held the power to ruin them. Even as a child, she had learned the value of perception. A glance could disarm a man. A smile could enslave his mind. A secret word could change the course of a life. One night, she overheard a plot. Men speaking in shadows, plans to sell her, plans to use her, plans that would destroy everything she loved. Her heart raced, her mind sharpened. She made a choice, a vow whispered to the night. If they try to own me, they will regret it. That night, the seed of her impossible secret was planted, a secret so powerful, so forbidden, that it would make her the most expensive slave in all of Alabama. Years passed. The whispers grew louder. The auction day approached, and the secret, the one thing that made her priceless, remained hidden. But not long. Soon the world would witness what Alabama had never seen before. If you're ready to uncover the shocking secret and see how her early life shaped her destiny, like, comment, and subscribe. The next is even darker. The day of the auction arrived, and the air was thick with greed, fear, and secrets waiting to explode. The courthouse square buzzed, men in top hats, women fanning themselves in silk, traders with ledgers, rumors swirling like dust in the hot Alabama sun. She arrived, silent, controlled, every step measured, every gaze calculated. Whispers followed. "She's more beautiful than I imagined. She must be worth a fortune. Why is she untouchable?" The auctioneer climbed the wooden platform, a gavel in hand. His eyes scanned the crowd. The murmurs quieted. He spoke with authority. "Ladies and gentlemen, the most prized possession you will ever see." She stepped forward. The crowd gasped. Gasps turned to murmurs. Murmurs turned to shouts. Her beauty, her poise, her presence commanded attention. The first bid rang out, a low number, laughable. But the auctioneer's gavel moved fast. Each bid climbed higher, faster. Men shouted over each other. 2,500, 30, 40. She remained calm, unflinching, her eyes scanning the crowd, reading them like a map. Greed, fear, desire. Every man revealed himself. A rival bidder stepped forward, a rich planter from neighboring county. He sneered. "Worth every penny," he said. But there was hesitation, doubt. The bidding war ignited, higher, faster, unstoppable. Gold, silver, promises, favors, nothing was too much. And all the while, she hid her secret, the one thing no one could see, the one thing that made her priceless. A secret that would twist the auction into chaos if revealed. The gavel slammed. The final bid, astounding. Everyone froze. Shock rippled through the crowd. Hearts pounded. Whispers turned to gasps. She had been sold to the highest bidder. But the moment was just beginning. The auction ended, but the real story was about to unfold. A shadow of curiosity lingered. What made her worth such a fortune? What could one woman hold that men would pay everything to possess? No one knew. Not yet. If you're ready to see the bidding war's shocking aftermath and discover hints of her impossible secret, like, comment, and subscribe. The next will reveal what happened the moment she was sold. She had been sold, but freedom wasn't hers, and the real danger was just beginning. The auction ended, the crowd dispersed, whispers lingered like smoke. Everyone wanted to know, what made her priceless? She walked behind the planter, silent, controlled. Her mind raced, her body remained composed, every step calculated. The carriage waited, wood creaking, horses snorting, dust rising. Inside, the planter's eyes studied her, greed, desire, possession. He believed he had won everything, but he didn't know she had already won in ways he couldn't see. The journey to the plantation was tense. She remained quiet, no words, only glances. The planter tried to break her spirit, commands, threats, whispers of punishment. She ignored them, silent resistance. Every observation recorded, every weakness noted. At the plantation, the workers stared, some with awe, some with fear, some whispered, "She's different." The house was grand, rooms large and lavish, but her mind was sharper than walls, sharper than chains. She explored quietly, learning, understanding, planning. That night, alone in her quarters, she reflected. The auction, the bidding war, the faces, the gavel, everything had been a performance, a stage for what was coming. A letter arrived, sealed, from a mysterious hand, hints of knowledge about her past, hints of power she didn't fully understand yet. She realized her secret wasn't just hers anymore. Someone else knew, someone watching, someone waiting. Her pulse quickened, a thrill mixed with fear. The impossible secret that had made her so valuable was also dangerous. She made a plan, move carefully, observe, learn, wait. The planter believed he owned her. The plantation believed she was just another possession, but they were all wrong. She had survived worse. She had secrets they couldn't even imagine. And soon, those secrets would unravel everything. If you want to see what happens the moment her secret begins to surface and how she starts to take control, like, comment, and subscribe. The next will dive into the dangerous truths hidden behind her beauty. Rumors spread like wildfire, and the first hints of her secret began to surface. Days passed at the plantation. She moved silently, watched everything, every face, every whisper, every hidden glance. The other slaves noticed, some curious, some afraid, some jealous. They didn't know her, not really, not her mind, not the fire burning inside. Whispers began. She's not like us. They say she knows things no one should know. She's dangerous. The planter grew impatient, expected obedience, expected fear, expected nothing but submission. Instead, he found quiet defiance. And yet, the first cracks in secrecy appeared. A rumor from a trader, a letter discovered by a curious servant, a hushed conversation in the shadows. Someone knew. The plantation workers began to talk. They say she has power beyond beauty. They say she can change the fate of any man. They say she can ruin lives. The planter laughed it off, dismissing the whispers, but the fear lingered, even in him. Then came the first incident. A master's prized horse went missing. No one saw her, no one suspected, yet whispers pointed her way. Just enough to stir suspicion, just enough to create tension. And through it all, she smiled, quietly, knowing the secret was still hers, waiting, growing. Her mind worked faster than anyone's, plotting, calculating, every movement at the plantation noted, every weakness recorded. One night, a servant dared to speak. "I've heard things about you." She looked at him, eyes like daggers. "You've heard nothing." The secret was dangerous, impossible. It had made her the most expensive slave in Alabama, and now it was beginning to seep into the lives of everyone around her. The planter remained unaware. The traders believed she was just a possession, but soon they would all understand. She had learned one truth early in life. Secrets were power, and the impossible secret she carried would not stay hidden for long. If you want to discover the scandal that will shock the plantation and reveal hints of her true power, like, comment, and subscribe. Next, we'll take you deeper into the dark twists of her story. The first consequences of her secret began to hit, and the plantation would never be the same. It started quietly, a missing trinket, a whispered accusation, a shadow of fear in the planter's eyes. The rumors grew louder. They say she knows things that shouldn't be known. They say she can control men's minds. They say she's impossible. The planter tried to maintain control, tried to dismiss the whispers, tried to remind himself she was property. But every glance, every action reminded him she was different. The other slaves watched, some with awe, some with fear, some quietly plotting. She had unsettled the hierarchy. She had become a force. And then the scandal began. A trader from the auction returned, eyes wide, face pale. He had seen the secret firsthand. He had glimpsed what made her the most expensive slave ever. He spoke to the planter, words dripping with urgency, warming, threatening. "The woman you bought, she is unlike anything you've ever faced." The planter scoffed, dismissed him, but doubt crept in. Fear whispered in his ear. At night, the plantation was restless. Fires flickered, shadows moved, noises echoed. People whispered of her abilities, of the strange events following her arrival. And yet, she remained calm, calculated, always observing. The impossible secret was still hers, but others were beginning to see glimpses. The workers noticed strange coincidences, the master's temper changing unexpectedly, a rival slave faltering in fear, a rumor spreading faster than truth. The planter began to tighten control, punishments, orders, surveillance, but nothing could contain her. She had learned early, fear is power, secrets are weapons, and the impossible secret she carried could destroy anyone who tried to control her. By the end of the week, the whispers became talk, talk became alarm, alarm became panic, and the impossible secret was on the brink of being revealed. The plantation was no longer safe, no one was safe, and the world would soon see why she was worth more than gold, why her price at auction was just the beginning. If you want to see the shocking fallout from her secret and how it changes the lives of everyone on the plantation, like, comment, and subscribe. Next, we'll reveal the dark consequences of her growing power. Her secret was no longer hidden, and the first confrontation shook the plantation to its core. Tension crackled in the air. Every eye turned toward her. Every whisper carried fear. Every step she took was measured. The planter confronted her, anger in his eyes, greed in his voice. "You are mine," he shouted. "Obey me or you will regret it." She smiled, a calm, chilling smile. "You may own my body," she said softly, "but you do not own me." The workers gasped. Some froze, some whispered to each other. They had never seen such defiance. The scandal began to unfold. A prized horse disappeared. A trader's gold went missing. Small things at first, but enough to sow chaos. The planter accused her openly, threatened her, punished others in desperation. But the truth was, she had not acted blindly. Every move calculated, every act a warning. The other slaves watched carefully. Some began to side with her. Some feared her even more. She had become a symbol of power, of mystery, of impossibility. One night in the shadows, she revealed part of her secret, a whisper to a trusted ally, a warning to the planter. "He who underestimates me loses everything." The plantation trembled, the hierarchy shattered. No one could control her, no one could predict her next move. The planter realized he had been outsmarted. The impossible secret that made her so valuable was now a weapon against him, against anyone who doubted her. She had turned the tables, from auction prize to master of shadows. Every glance, every word, every action reinforced it. She was untouchable, almost. But one question lingered in the minds of all. What was the full extent of her secret? How far could it reach? And who would be the first to pay the price? The sun set over Alabama. The plantation quieted, but the storm had only begun. The impossible secret was about to rewrite everything. If you want to see the shocking twists and the full revelation of her impossible secret, like, comment, and subscribe. Next, we'll take you into the darkest, most suspenseful final yet. The secret that had made her priceless was about to strike, and no one on the plantation would escape its shadow. Night fell over the plantation. Shadows stretched long and deep. The air was thick with fear. The whispers of her secret grew louder. She moved quietly, every footstep precise, every gaze sharp. The impossible secret pulsed within her, waiting. The planter paced in his study, sweat on his brow, Fear gnawed at his confidence. He had thought he controlled her. He had been wrong. Then it happened, a series of strange events. Things vanished, men fell ill, all subtle but deliberate. No one could understand, no one could stop it. Rumors spread among the slaves. She is more than human, she commands the unseen, she is untouchable. And the planter? He grew desperate. Orders flew, punishments escalated, but nothing contained her, nothing slowed her. One night she confronted him, eyes blazing in the candlelight. "You wanted me as property," she whispered, "but property cannot hold a storm." The other slaves watched from shadows, fear, awe, hope. Her power was undeniable. A hidden letter surfaced, evidence of her past, evidence of the secret that had made her the most expensive slave in Alabama. Not just beauty, not just intelligence, something far darker, something far more dangerous. The planter tried to resist, tried to silence her, tried to bargain, but she had anticipated everything, every move, every thought. The plantation shivered under her influence. The impossible secret was no longer hidden. It rippled outward, touching every life, every plan, every ambition. And then the first shock. The highest bidder from the auction returned, eyes wide with fear. "Do you know what you've bought?" he asked the planter. The answer? She did, and she was ready to claim what was hers. The night ended with a whisper, a promise, a warning. "The impossible secret belongs to me, and it will change everything." If you want to witness the shocking climax and finally discover the impossible secret that made her the most expensive slave in Alabama, like, comment, and subscribe, and Final will reveal the full truth. The impossible secret was about to be revealed, and the plantation would never recover. The dawn broke over Alabama. The plantation stirred, but the air was heavy, tense, expectant. She stepped out of her quarters, eyes cold, calm, every step deliberate, every motion commanding. The planter waited, sweat on his forehead, hands shaking. He had tried to control her, to bend her will, but she had outsmarted him at every turn. The slaves gathered quietly, some hiding behind doors, some peeking from windows. They had felt it coming. They had sensed the storm. And then she spoke, her voice low, clear, impossible to ignore. "The secret that made me priceless is not my beauty. It is not my obedience. It is my mind and what I know." Gasps echoed. The planter turned pale. The auction trader froze. The slaves whispered. She revealed truths hidden for years, connections to powerful families, knowledge of secrets men had killed to keep hidden, letters, documents, betrayals, all in her grasp, all under her control. The planter stammered, traders faltered, the power dynamic shattered. She was no longer a possession. She was the master. Rumors confirmed. She had anticipated the auction, the bidding war, even the planter's greed. Every act calculated, every secret leveraged. The slaves cheered silently. They knew she had changed everything. No longer just a figure of envy, she had become a force of reckoning. The planter fell to his knees, desperate, broken, realizing the price he paid was nothing compared to the power he had lost. She looked at him, eyes blazing, a final whisper. "Nothing can be bought what cannot be owned." The plantation was never the same. Fear, respect, awe, all intermingled. Her impossible secret had rewritten history, and the world outside would never forget the most expensive slave woman in Alabama, the woman who could not be possessed, the woman who held a secret worth more than gold. If you want to see the conclusion and how the impossible secret ultimately changed lives forever, like, comment, and subscribe. Next, we'll reveal the shocking ending. The impossible secret was no longer a mystery, and the truth would shock everyone who thought they understood her. The plantation was quiet. Too quiet. The tension hung heavy in the air. She walked through the grounds. Every eye followed, every whisper silenced. The impossible secret had fully revealed itself. The planter knelt, humiliated, his pride shattered. He realized what he had truly bought: not a slave, not beauty, a mind capable of outmaneuvering everyone. She had used the secrets she held, connections, knowledge, and leverage, to gain power no one could ever take away. The other slaves watched in awe. Some cheered quietly. Some feared the magnitude of her intelligence. She had become untouchable, a legend in the making. The auction trader returned, eyes wide with disbelief. You planned this all along?" he stammered. She smiled. "Yes. Every moment." The plantation began to change, rules rewritten, allies and enemies revealed. Every action she had taken had prepared the ground for this moment. Her secret was simple and terrifying. It wasn't magic, it wasn't superstition, it was control, knowledge, influence, and the ability to make everyone underestimate her until it was too late. The planter could do nothing. The world outside could do nothing. She had claimed the only thing no one could buy: autonomy, power, freedom in the shadow of chains. The whispers would continue. Stories of the most expensive slave woman ever auctioned in Alabama. Her impossible secret, her unmatched power, her legacy. And somewhere, in the quiet of the night, she smiled, for she had proven one thing: no price could capture a mind that refused to be owned. If this story shocked you and you want more dark, suspenseful, and unbelievable tales from history, like, comment, and subscribe. And don't miss our next story that will take you even deeper into secrets history tried to hide.